Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you products that I have loved, repurchased, and continue to use from the last 5, some of these even like 8 to 10 years. I will say there are, I think, 2 products that were kind of a cheat because they're products that I've had for a long time and I used to love like years ago, but kind of forgotten about because I do feel like eyeshadow palettes in the makeup industry are one of the top products that are constantly being released like every other day, if not, no, every day is pushing it. But seriously, with ColourPop and all these other brands constantly putting out eyeshadow palettes, that's a drawer that gets a little bit messy and some of my favorites kind of fall to the back. So that one was a cheat, but all these other products are ones that I've used for years and years. I've repurchased so many times or that I just continue to love, even though I've had them in my collection for many, many moons. So hopefully this video inspires you to pull out some of your old favorites. If you guys are interested in more of these type of videos, just using old products that we already have, not necessarily old, but kind of like forgotten favorites in your makeup collection, I did post a video the day before yesterday, or was it yesterday, all about a full face of Nothing New, drugstore edition. So if you're looking for something that's more on a budget or just, like I said, more inspiration to pull out older products in your collection, I'll go ahead and link that video here. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. All right, so as you can see, I do already have on my brows, my moisturizer, and my SPF. I am going to prime and prep my lips with you though. That sounded weird, prep my lips with you. One of the lip butters that I've used for years now, lip balm, lip butter, whatever. There's lots of other ones, but this is one that I feel like sticks out the longest that I've just continuously used. And it's from CORRECTOR, just their lip butters. Guava is the one that I keep upstairs. And then down here, I just keep the shade Jasmine. If you are looking for a lip balm that leaves an actual like color tint behind and you're wanting something a little bit brighter, the shade Quince is really pretty. Pretty sure that's kind of like the bright raspberry coral one where you get quite a bit of stain left behind on your lips. If you have really pigmented lips, it's not gonna look quite as light as it does on mine, but my lips are already really naturally unpigmented. So this does look a little bit white at first, but I needed some sort of hydration on my lips. Okay, moving on to primer. VDL LUMILAYER primer. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in my last 2 videos. This is a great primer. If you have a foundation that just feels a little bit dry or too flat and matte and you're just looking to add a little bit more hydration and glowiness to it, this one is perfect. I have been using this primer for definitely over 5 years, maybe even more than that, I'm not quite sure, but it's just a primer that I will continue to repurchase for the rest of my life. I just love the pearlescent glow that it gives the skin. It's super hydrating on your face. There is just like a very subtle fresh scent to it. I actually really like the way that Korean cosmetics are scented. Their skincare and their cosmetics, it's just always a very fresh and clean scent. Let's go ahead and move on to, I think, eyeshadow, just because I may go in with some darker shades, so I always like to be able to have the opportunity to go in underneath and clean up any fallout. But for my eyeshadow primer, this is actually an under eye corrector. They do make an actual eye primer one in a crayon form. I just pulled mine out of my drawer. It was very dried out, so unfortunately I had to go in the trash. But this one works great on my eyelids as well. This is the Tarte CC Colored Clay CC Under Eye Corrector. This is amazing if you have really dark under eyes, or even if you feel like your eyelids are like really veiny. My eyelids always look a little bit darker yellow compared to the other areas of my face, so I just like to go in and use this as an eye primer and an under eye corrector. It does feel tacky in the pan, but you just go in with a super thin layer and really pat it on, and it does a great job of just color correcting any discoloration, and it adds a little bit of brightness at the same time. I mean, that's a huge difference. But I'm telling you, if you're someone who has really, really dark under eye circles, this is a product I would highly recommend checking out. Every now and then over on HSN or QVC, they'll have combo deals with this and like maybe Tarte Shape Tape or a brush. For eyeshadow palettes, honestly, I was really torn. I was looking at the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette, but I kind of wanted to pull it back even further than that. So I grabbed 3 different palettes. We have the Lorac Pro palette. This one looks so beat up. This was a palette that I absolutely loved. I definitely preferred this over the Urban Decay Naked palette, so we might go in with that. But if you caught my Ulta 21 Days of Beauty video, I'd mentioned these palettes because they're going to be on sale for 50% off, and I love these palettes from Lorac. The original Unzipped used to be one of my absolute favorites, and I haven't used it in such a long time when it used to be something that I used over and over again. In fact, so much so that I had to buy a new one. So we have the original, which is more like mauve toned, and then we have gold. Oh, I just now realized all three of them were Lorac palettes. That's kind of weird. Okay, so let's start off with the shade Dressed in Lorac Gold. And I am just going to set kind of my whole eye since I have that under eye corrector on. See what I mean? It is a really nice product and it does feel hydrating on the eyes, but you do need to go in and set it. Otherwise, you will be a creasy Carl. I'm gonna go in with this kind of mauve toned, dusty, rosy lavender color called Unconditional. This is a Morphe M505. And let's just sweep a little bit of that. Hey, that kind of like matches my headband perfectly. I ordered these from YesStyle just because they were so cheap and I got them in like 3, 4, maybe even 5 different colors. I know Amazon sells them as well. If you guys are interested, I'll go ahead and drop a few links down below. And then let's go into the shade Unbridled. For that, I do want a little bit of a smaller brush. Let's go in with the Makeup Geek Stiff Dome brush. I'm really trying to be better about actually naming my brushes, just because I get questions and then once I'm sitting down editing, I'm like, I have no idea which brush that is because I have so many that look alike. That way I don't have to go in and constantly be washing brushes because that is hands down my least favorite chore. It's satisfying watching all the makeup come out of the brush, but after 3, I'm just like, okay, the satisfaction is done and I want all of these to be done. I kind of want to do something maybe just bright gold. Unleashed in this palette is amazing. It's so metallic and just wet looking. Isn't that beautiful? So just taking my finger, I'm gonna go into Unleashed and let's just start tapping that right into the center area of my lid. Isn't that such a beautiful gold? Moving on to eyeliner. For the brush, we have the Sigma Winged Liner E06. And then for my liner, we are going in with Sigma Wicked. I feel like when it comes to black gel liners, Wicked and then Inglot, what's the number? Whatever the jet black is, those two are definitely the most recognizable in my opinion. They're just super black and just glide right onto the eye. Mine looks like it needs a little bit of Duraline though, and I can't find it. That's gonna be another project for this week, just to really go in and reorganize and do some more decluttering. I feel like I'm constantly decluttering my makeup, but then it's always a mess all over again, which is frustrating. And I think it's hard for me to do that too right now, just because having an only child, I will say, is definitely harder at this time. I get that siblings fight, but I feel like when you have multiple kids and they really have no choice but to play together right now, there's less mom guilt. Maybe I'm just saying that because I only know what I have right now, but even whenever I talk to my mom friends that have multiple kids, they're like, oh yeah, they've been playing all day. Whereas I feel guilty if I'm not constantly keeping Layden busy. I just feel like I need to always be doing something with him just with how things are right now. I don't know, so it's been kind of hard for me. Anyways, back to the eyeliner. I am just going to do exactly like I did in my previous video. With wings, I like to mainly just concentrate the outer area, and then I don't really go in and fill it in all the way, except for apparently the tip of my nose, which now that's not coming off great. As you can see, I now have both eyes on, and during the process, I was trying to even out my eyeliner and things got thicker and thicker and less even in the process. But you know what? We're gonna roll with it. Okay, I grabbed out this liquid liner because this is another product I've had for such a long time, and this is actually one of those products that I use so much off camera. A lot of the products that I show on camera are products that I'm constantly using, but I realize I do have a little bin of products that I use on a day-to-day basis that I just never show, and I'm not quite sure why. I don't know if it's just because it's something that I just kind of grab and do really quick and sometimes forget on camera, but this bad boy here has been with me for not this specific one. I remember a long time ago, I used to always like line right under my lashes with this, like kind of by the inner corner just for an extra little pop of something. So I thought maybe kind of like going right on top. Wow, my wings are so, it's like if this eye was up just a little bit more like this, it'd be a little bit more even. This is the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Liner in Midnight Cowboy. If you've never used it before, it's just a thin little bristle wand, and really you have to go in and kind of apply it a few times to get like a full-on opaque glitter, but I thought just to add a little extra sparkle on top we could just go in and do a little like twink, twink right above, just for a little extra something. We recently started All American. To be honest, it's kind of like a cheesy Lifetime soap opera, but cheesy in a good way where it keeps you hooked. So I think we're on like episode 5, maybe even 6, and we've only been watching it for 2 days. All right, so let's go ahead and let that dry and move on to foundation. Now, this one was a little bit of a cheat only because there is another foundation that I've used even longer than this, but I'm currently completely out. It's NARS Sheer Glow in the shade Punjab. I will forever love that foundation, but a very close runner up, if not, I don't know if I could say equal to, because I do prefer the finish of Sheer Glow more, but this foundation is still just as good. This is another foundation from NARS. It's the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. I've actually never even used this shade before. I'm typically Punjab all around, but I've been telling y'all how pasty McPasty I am right now. So I pulled out the shade Light 3.5 Salzburg. What I'm going to do, just to add a little extra oomph with this foundation, I am going to go in and apply some on the top as well, is the Becca Liquid Illuminator. What's the actual name? Shimmering Skin Perfector in the shade Opal. This was my very first Becca highlight. I used this before Champagne Pop, before the press version of Opal. I just have always loved liquid highlighters. So I'm going to take like a half a pump of that and mix it into my foundation. Let's add in a pump of LUMILAYER. Actually, a pump and a half. That may have been a little much, but the glow that it adds is so pretty, and it does it without like messing up the actual formula of the foundation. Something about LUMILAYER, it has this like bouncy gel-like texture to it where it just makes your skin feel, dang it, some glitter did transfer up there. I waited too long, or I didn't wait long enough before I blinked, but it just feels so nice on the skin. This color is actually pretty good right now. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter Waterproof Full Coverage Concealer. I'm going to be using the shade Light Warm. All right, I am also just going to take some down my nose, a little on my forehead, and the sides of my jowls, just to add some brightness there. But look at the coverage of this concealer. It's so nice. It's not super heavy. I feel like it works just as good as my Born This Way concealer. So I'm like, see, Dana, start giving your other products that you used to love more love. Now moving on to setting powder. This honestly wasn't hard at all. Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. This stuff is awesome. There's definitely other loose powders that I use a lot. For instance, the Huda Beauty Baking Powder. I do love that one, but when it comes to setting powders, this is easily the one that I've used the longest and have continued to go back to over and over again. So I'm just gonna use this to set my under eyes, really get right under that eyeliner, and also right here on my smile lines. For bronzer, we have NARS Laguna. I don't know how many of these I've gone through so far in my lifetime. I do have a massive, like large one that came out during the holidays, which that one's almost gone as well. I just love this bronzer. Even if you're just looking for something to warm up your crease and you don't want to go in with a complicated eyeshadow look, it's easy and it just pulls everything together. I still remember purchasing the e.l.f. dupe of it. It was like a duo that was supposed to look like a dupe of the Laguna and Orgasm duo, and I had purchased that first, and I don't know, I was like, no, this bronzer just doesn't seem the same, because I had used my friend's Laguna, and then finally I went out and got it, and that was like a treasured makeup item for quite a while for me. I loved that one so much. Right, now moving on to blush, I kind of have a tie because both of these are blushes that I have raved about for so many years. First up is MAC Warm Soul. This will be a forever favorite. But then another great one is the Laura Geller Blush and Brightens. My very first one in this formula was Pink Grapefruit. I have talked about these blushes for I don't know how many years. Tropic Hues, Sunswept, Honeysuckle. They're all such amazing blushes. In fact, both of them kind of give the same effect where it's just a very glowy blush. If you're looking for something that's almost like a blush, bronzer, and highlighter all in one, Sunswept, is it Sunswept or Tropic Hues? That one has a ton of marbling in it with like pearl shades, bronze shades, pinky shades. It's just such a beautiful blush, but as much as I love MAC Warm Soul, I feel like I don't use it as much as I use my Blush and Brighten blushes. These are blushes that I pack every single time I travel because I know I'll be happy with them no matter what look I have. So let's use Pink Grapefruit. I'd say now though, Sunswept or Tropic Hues, I probably prefer those over Pink Grapefruit, but Pink Grapefruit was the one that helped me discover my love for this blush formula. See what I mean? It just has this beautiful glow to it. For highlighter, I'm actually just gonna stick with the Becca highlighter that we mix into my foundation. Just take a teeny tiny little pea size amount on the back of my hand, spread it out, and then just pick some up with my brush, or not my brush, my sponge. And I'm just going to bounce that right on top. And then for setting spray, the very first setting spray I ever used even before MAC Fix Plus was Urban Decay All Nighter, and I still use it to this day. I've used this setting spray, I think it's gone through at least 3 or 4 different packaging or label looks since I started using it. I mean, I don't really need all nighter because I'm not really going anywhere today, but you know, sake of the video. For lip liner, unfortunately, the lip liner that I have used the longest is gone because I used it all. And I kind of wish I would have saved the last bit because it was so cute. It couldn't even have a cap anymore unless I just barely set it in there because it was just the McNubbins of MAC Strip Down. That was the very first lip liner shade I ever purchased from MAC. It's a good one. So if you have never tried that one and you just love like a great nude, that one is amazing. But my next favorite are the NYX lip liners. I have blown through so many of these. Ever is a favorite. Natural, and then is it just called Nude? I think I've talked about these lip liners so many times, but Ever is a go-to shade that I think so many of y'all would like. Just in case if you've never tried these before, they're so incredibly cheap. I want to say they used to be $2.99, but I think they might be $3.99 now. Either way, Ulta and NYX, they tend to do sales on these a lot where it's like buy one, get one half off, and they're such great lip liners. You do have to sharpen them, but I find those to be the best lip liners. Something about the formula and these wood pencils, they're just creamier. They're not quite as slippery as some other lip liners, and they're just good. And this shade is so pretty. The lipstick that I'm about to share with y'all is the lipstick that I bought on the day that I first bought MAC Strip Down many years ago. I had gotten my makeup done at the counter, and I think like you had to spend $50 afterwards. So I bought this lipstick, MAC Strip Down Lip Liner. And then I want to say it was, what's that like gold taupey eyeshadow that we all loved from MAC? How can I not think of it? Woodwinked. Yeah, I bought, I think those 3 products. So the lip combo that the lady had applied on me was MAC Strip Down all over, and then she went in with MAC Jubilee. And this is a luster formula. This is such a beautiful everyday lipstick. It works with any lip liner that you're wearing. If you want it to be a little bit more rosy, then you can go in with a lip liner like this, or if you want it to be more nude, go in with Strip Down. Luster formulas are definitely my favorite from MAC just because they have that really nice shine where you don't really need to go in with a gloss afterwards. But it's just such a beautiful everyday type of natural color. I think this is easily one of MAC's best shades. All right, y'all, so here is today's look using makeup products that I've owned and loved for a very long time. I would love to hear some of your standout favorites in your collection, products that you just continuously repurchase and you feel like your routine is not complete without. And yeah, that is pretty much it. As always, thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. Let me know what other videos you guys would like to see this week and in the upcoming, well, I guess we're kind of at the end of this week. So I guess in the upcoming weeks, I always like to take your suggestions, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.